just want to share some data for all of you here in the audience. We've just put it together. What is the way to describe the current status of the Indian economy? Various people say it is a binary economy where there is a divergence between the rich who are getting richer and the poor who perhaps are getting poorer. Let's look at these two divergent trends in terms of rural India. Rural India accounts for 40% of overall FMCG market. We have seen a noticeable drop due to inflation and monsoon. But pre-pandemic, Bharat was growing much faster. Mobile phones, 30,000 plus mobile phones flying off the shelves. Below that, the so-called affordable budget segment, not. Now, the argument could be that premiumization is happening in the Indian economy. But when you take this argument to the real estate sector, there you see affordable housing. I don't know how many of you have seen affordable housing advertisement in the last 2 years. The Delhi Development Authority has come out. The most recent auction is an auction. It's not an allotment, and it's a 5 crore home in the outskirts of Delhi. Not a big price point. I could keep going on. 500,000 homes this year, and most of them are premium. The same could be said about travel and hotels. It's impossible to get a decent room for a decent rate. So that was the context, really. Sorry for setting that long context. Do you agree with this, that at the macro aggregate level, it's perhaps a V, could be a W, but when it comes to sectors, different sectors are showing a different growth trajectory?
Yeah, I mean, that is always the case where you have different sectors growing at different paces. I think right now, rural is clearly seeing a slowdown. When you look at the Kharif crop, which just went by, we are looking at farm income contract by 3.5%. You are seeing Narega, demand at a peak, if you take out the COVID years. So a lot of the consumption demand is being borne by coming from urban India. And it is true that, there has been a K-shaped recovery. This is just not in India, it's all over the world. We do these surveys which clearly show that, the recovery has been much faster at the higher levels of income than the lower levels.
And sorry to interrupt, you are saying this is a global feature and nothing unique to...
It's a global feature. It's happened across the world. I don't think there is any country which has not seen a K-shaped recovery, because that's been the very nature of the recovery that we have seen. So I would say that, there are three challenges that we face. Because the US has been raising rates, lending rates in India have shot up. And because the repo rate and the EBLR are linked, rates at the lower end and the weaker sections have gone up more. If you look at housing demand that you said, normal mortgage loan growth is very high. But when you look at affordable housing loan growth, that is almost close to zero. Now, linked to that is the fact that external demand is weak, and then the rural issues that we spoke about. Hopefully, the Fed is done, and, I think that the rate cycle can start to turn, pretty fast. We are calling for RBI rate cut in February. If the Fed tonight or on 31st January says that it is done, so maybe we start to see relief as we go forward.